time for an October book list, and this one is all about mysteries for middle grades. Hello, readers. I am Mary Wilson, and today I am sharing my top 20 mystery stories for middle grade readers. These stories are packed with twists and puzzles and secrets that will keep you guessing until the very end. And for extra fun, I am collaborating with Jessica from the Whodunit Way, who is also sharing her favorite books for the month of October. Her playlist is linked below, so be sure to check out her choices after you stick around for mine. And this is going to be the start of a series where I share themed book lists every month. So if you love discovering great books for your kids, middle schoolers, and even teens, then stick around and be sure to hit subscribe. But let's go ahead and get into this. You all know I love children's books, and as someone who leads children's book clubs online, I had a really hard time narrowing down my immense library of children's books to just focus in on 20 of my favorite mystery books for middle grade. Now, middle grade, depending on who you ask, I think of it as like age 8 to 12, but could be 3rd to 8th grade. So I have these books in what I would consider age order, kind of starting with the youngest and then heading up to ones that I think will appeal to older readers who are maybe in like 7th, 8th, even 9th grades. But again, these are just recommendations. There's no solid age that you should read any of the books I'm sharing today. You can be much older and still enjoy lots of these titles. We will get started with Pie by Sarah Weeks. This was one of the ones I used in my online book club a few years ago for 8 to 10-year-olds. It is as sweet as it looks and sounds. Allison's aunt, the town's famous pie maker, dies, and she leaves her secret recipe to her cat. Suddenly, everyone is in a frenzy, and Alice is caught up in a mystery that is full of family and fun and friendship and plenty of pie. And yes, there are recipes included. This is a really fun one. And what I really like about this one too is it is such a gentle mystery. So it's great for your younger readers who maybe aren't ready for so much suspense. Speaking of that group, I'd also love to recommend Ra, the Mighty Cat Detective. This is another mystery with tons of laughs. Ra is a spoiled cat living in ancient Egypt, and he accidentally stumbles into being a detective. He has a loyal sidekick, the scarab beetle, and together they are going to solve crimes and prove that even a lazy, spoiled royal cat can solve mysteries. This is the first in a series, so definitely check this one out also for your younger mystery lovers. Okay, the next one looks creepier than it is. And you know me, I host a weekly graphic novel book club, which, by the way, all of the book clubs are down in the links. And so I have a lot of graphic novel titles that I love. And Ben Hackey, if you have not been familiar with this graphic novel author, definitely check him out. Things in the Basement is one we did, I think, last year. And what starts as a trip down the basement for Milo as he is looking for some socks turns into a full-blown adventure in the basement. And again, while it looks creepy, the characters, the strange creatures, are actually delightful and friendly. The kids all loved this one. It's part mystery, it's part fantasy, and it's tons of fun. I really enjoyed this one and definitely recommend it, especially for, again, the younger set. All right, another popular chapter book is Spy School, but the version I own is the graphic novel. And I wanted to let you know that while this is a very popular chapter book, it is also a graphic novel. It is about a kid who is recruited into a school for spies, even though he's not exactly spy material. Things start kind of blowing up, and he has to figure out who to trust. This is a really fun one. And again, your elementary school, even your early middle school students are going to love this one. Another chapter book that I happen to own the graphic novel adaptation is The City of Ember. This one is more of a gentle dystopic book, but please use caution, especially in the chapter book, if your child is going to be bothered by that sort of genre. All right, the city of Ember is always in darkness. It is only being lit by street lamps, and two kids are going to stumble across the mysterious clues that let them know there is more going on in the city than it appears at first sight. And they need to solve the mystery before the entire city and their world goes dark forever. This was a really fun graphic novel. It's a little different in the art because it's trying to show the darkness. So there's a lot of use of black in here. Even the gutters in all the panels are black. We really enjoyed this one. Did this with my 8 to 10-year-olds and my middle school, and everyone really liked it. One of my favorite mysteries I read out loud to my own class of 5th graders many, many years ago is Holes by Louis Sachar. This is such a fun one, and I have done this one in the summer in my book clubs for a summer book and movie club because there is a movie that's actually done really well that you can watch after reading this mystery. Stanley Yelnats has been caught committing a crime, and he has been sent to a school in the desert, Camp Green Lake, which is not a camp, and there is no lake, to dig a hole every day to build his character. But Stanley soon discovers there's a lot more going on at Camp Green Lake, and some of that mystery just might have to do with him and his new friend. This is a really fun one. I love how the story of the past weaves in with the present. Definitely add this one to your list. Great family read aloud. All right, next up we have Book Scavenger, another one that my book club students enjoyed so much. It was very similar to if you have done geocaching. It was like geocaching but with books. And, well, a big dangerous twist, because Emily, who is looking for the hidden book that could possibly lead to a treasure, is going to find that someone else is also looking for it and might be willing to do anything to beat her to the prize. All right, check this one out. It's the first in a series of mystery books. Next, we have a favorite that I am surprised I don't own, but that is The Mysterious Benedict Society. And at the library, when I went to pick it up, there was a kid actually checking it out, which I was so happy he was about to begin this adventure, but I'm just gonna have to show you the cover. All right, this is one of my favorites. 4 kids with very unusual talents are recruited for attendance at the Mysterious Benedict Society. It's a very suspicious school run by Mr. Benedict, and they uncover very strange things going on and dangerous things, and they have to work together to figure it out. The 4 kids are quirky and fun and delightful, and I think your kids will really enjoy getting into this series. All right, next up is The 39 Clues, and I happen to own the first one in both the hard book and the graphic novel. So this one, again, I would definitely know how sensitive your kids are. My daughter, my oldest, was 10 when we started reading these because they're definitely geared kind of elementary school, and it really bothered her because there's a lot of violence in the family, which is part of the mystery and adventure, but just use some caution here. This one has a classic brother and sister duo. We have Amy and Dan Cahill. Their grandmother has passed away, and she has left 39 clues to all of their powerful family's mystery and fortune. So he is now racing across the world, he and Amy, against his cousins and aunts and uncles pretty violently. Let's just say they are willing to do whatever is necessary, not Amy and Dan, but their family members, in order to discover the treasure. Next, we have an author that if you have not checked out, I had to include 2 of his books in this list. Definitely want to check out James Ponti. Framed is a book I did with my middle school book club, I think 2 years ago, about Florian, who has this kind of cool system for noticing things, like observing. Now the FBI wants his help. But it turns out that working for the FBI and solving art crimes and museum mysteries is actually a lot riskier than Florian thought. But this is a fun adventure. It is part of a trilogy. Great one for your middle schoolers. So I've kind of moved into more of a middle school age. So proceed with that knowledge with any of the remaining titles. All right, we're going back into a graphic novel, and this one is not an adaptation of a chapter book. This is its own series, Amulet. I think there are 11 of these now. It is full of mystery and magic. When Emily, who you're seeing on this page here, finds a very powerful amulet, it pulls her into a hidden world where she's going to learn about her family's past, and she's going to have to make some choices to protect their future. Again, a little creepier, but very popular with middle schoolers. Next is a book I read last year in my middle school book club, and that is the book Masterminds by Gordon Korman. If you are familiar with Gordon Korman, this one is really unique compared to a lot of his that are more in like school settings and education. This one is in a town where Eli lives, and everything seems perfect, almost too perfect, one might say. He and his friends discover a secret that kind of flips everything they know upside down, and they now have to figure out what to do with that information. It is the first one in a trilogy, and like the more the kids find out, the creepier their town becomes. But it's lots of fun. Great one for middle schoolers. My students in general really enjoyed this one. Next, we have Enola Holmes, The Case of the Missing Marquis. If you like Sherlock Holmes and that style, it's time to meet Sherlock's younger sister, Enola. Enola's mom disappears, and Enola sets out to solve the case. Into the streets of Paris she goes, proving she is just as clever as her brother, Sherlock. This one has an excellent movie on Netflix. It might be one of the situations where I actually enjoyed the movie more than the book. That doesn't happen a whole lot, but there you go. Check out this one for your middle school readers. Next, I'm going to return to James Ponti, who is the author of Framed, which I showed earlier, and also the author of City Spies. This is my book club pick for middle school this October 2025. This is the one we'll be discussing. It is the first in a series where 5 kids get recruited from around the globe to serve as junior spies. There's secret missions and gadgets and adventures all around the globe. It is a ton of fun, and each book, I've only read the first one, but I understand each book kind of follows a different kid. So it's kind of a fun one for perspective as well. All right, next is an older title, but one that I love the way it all comes together, and that is When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead. It is mysterious in such a unique and fun way about a girl named Miranda who starts getting strange notes. They appear from someone who knows about her future, and she can't figure out what's happening. She has a mom who is training to be on the $25,000 pyramid, which was just kind of fun as a child who was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. I knew that game show well. And I loved how it all came together in the end. She solves the puzzle, and it changes a lot of what she thought she knew. I read this one a few years ago in my middle school book club, and it was a pretty popular title. It's an enjoyable read. It references A Wrinkle in Time a lot, so it's kind of a fun one to pair with that if your child has read that one. All right, next is one that was new to me this year, and I enjoyed it enough to select it as one of the titles for my teen book club for ages 13 to 15, though I do think a 12-year-old could enjoy this one and someone a little older. This one is more of like a historical mystery. It's set in the 1600s, like 1660s in London, and Christopher is an apothecary's apprentice. He gets caught up in like a conspiracy after someone murders his master, and there's secret codes and there's secret knowledge, and he's hiding, and he has to kind of solve the mystery before he himself gets hurt or someone else does. So this was kind of unique because it was a historical mystery, and that was really fun. Okay, one of my favorites from my teen book club last year, and the middle school book club read this one as well because it has such a fun twist, is The False Prince. This is part of the Ascendance series by Jennifer Nielsen. You might be familiar with this author. She writes a lot of popular historical fiction like A Night Divided. But the kingdom is in chaos, and there are four orphans who are forced in kind of a deadly competition to become the prince, but to become a false prince. So this one was full of like twists and turns throughout the book. I did not predict what was happening the first time I read it, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It's one of the ones that I did go ahead and finish the trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. Next, I have more of a classic, and that is The Westing Game. This one's a little more like Clue, 16 heirs, one millionaire left a will with a puzzle, and it's going to change the life for one of them, at least, forever. There's codes, there's twists. The only thing I would say about this book is with 16 people who are part of the story, all kind of involved, have your child like keep a few notes. At least that helped me. They might do better than my old lady brain, but I often had a hard time remembering who was who, or set aside some good amount of time to kind of dig in right when you get started so you can kind of figure out who is who and keep track of it. But I think it's a really fun classic to read. And finally, I am ending on a nonfiction book that reads like a modern day mystery, because it is about a mystery, but it's a mystery that was solved. So you're not solving it as the reader, you're learning about the history of the Mona Lisa, because before the Mona Lisa became one of the most famous and well-known paintings in the world, it was actually stolen from the Louvre. Actually, what gave it so much of its fame was that. So this is a true story of an art heist, but it's told in like a timeline that goes forward and backward. It has really fun facts about famous artists of the time and how everything turned out. This was a really fun one, great for middle school, even a little older than that. And it has some fun illustrations throughout it. That's not one of the illustrations, but little illustrations throughout it as well. All right, so down below, let me know which of the books I've mentioned is your personal favorite, or did I miss a book that you would suggest? Leave it down there below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with a friend, and tune in because next month I will be back with a whole new theme for November to keep your kid reading all year long. Don't miss Jessica's video. Her playlist is linked below. You can gather even more titles. I've also included a printable to my top 20 favorite books that I shared with you here, and a link if you just want to head directly over and grab a few. And if you need even more titles after all that, there's a blog post there with 100 mystery books for middle schoolers that you can check out. And as always, you can find links to my book clubs online. I would love to have your child join a waitlist or join one of my current openings and discuss a book with me next month. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you again soon. Happy mystery reading.